Hello, students. Today's bell ringer will require a group effort. You will be cutting out the definitions and matching them to their vocabulary words. Once you've made the match, glue the definition next to the word. You have 7 minutes. Put this in your group binder when you are done. For today, we have 3 objectives. They are, first off, you're going to continue practicing making thesis statements just like we've been doing. So you're going to do one more using a practice prompt, assigned structure, and discussion among your group members. Next, you'll learn how to evaluate an author's specific use of diction, connotation, anaphora, syntax, voice, and tone to shape meaning and purpose by analyzing a part of the novel Night. You will create a poem using anaphora, voice, and carefully chosen diction to illustrate mastery of these concepts in your writing as your third objective. Remember, this one is a quiz grade, so take it very seriously. Another reminder, progress report grades come out on Friday, so be sure you turn everything in before then. I will be here on Friday, so make sure you're not missing anything. Another reminder. Wow, that's 3 reminders. We will have a Kahoot quiz on Friday for A Day and Monday for B Day. Bring your devices so you can play. I will have prizes. Also, study, study, study. That's the way to win. The substitute will pass out a new set of prompts. Just like before, choose one to work on with your group today. Use the same method we have been practicing. Identify the topic, make and fill out a T-chart, choose a side, then write your thesis. Topic plus opinion plus because plus reason 1 plus reason 2. You have 15 minutes. Ready, set, go. Put your thesis statements in your group binder. Here's another joke for fun. Look at this koala as the substitute passes out the night diction practice page. All right, first off, let's talk about the content vocabulary words at the top. Highlight them. Diction is the author's choice of a particular word as opposed to others. How is exterminate different from kill? Both give out negative vibes, but exterminate seems harsher. So why would an author choose exterminate over kill? Probably because he or she wanted the reader to feel that harshness. Anaphora is the repetition of a word or phrase at the beginning of a sentence or verse. What do you remember most about Martin Luther King Jr.'s famous speech? I have a dream. You remember that because he repeats it for emphasis. He wants you to remember that part. It's important. A good writer, particularly a persuasive writer, uses this rhetorical device well, just like MLK did. Tone is the author's attitude toward the subject being discussed. The analytical reader faces difficult questions. Why that particular choice of words? What is the effect of that diction? The word choice a writer makes determines the reader's reaction to the object of description and contributes to the author's style and tone. So, for the activity, we're going to read the excerpt from page 34 of Night and circle words that have a strong connotation. Highlight the definition of connotation on your paper. Connotation is strong word meanings. They can be positive, negative, or even neutral. After we circle these words, we're going to jot down their connotation, how they make us feel. Never shall I forget that night, the first night in camp, which has turned my life into one long night, 7 times cursed and 7 times sealed. Never shall I forget that smoke. Never shall I forget the little faces of the children whose bodies I saw turned into wreaths of smoke beneath a silent blue sky. Never shall I forget those flames which consumed my faith forever. Never shall I forget that nocturnal silence which deprived me, for all eternity, of the desire to live. Never shall I forget those moments which murdered my God and my soul and turned my dreams to dust. Never shall I forget these things, even if I am condemned to live as long as God Himself. Never. Some words with strong connotation are never, cursed, silent, consumed, deprived, murdered, and condemned. These are all words with negative connotations. Now, the thing about connotation is that it isn't an exact science. Your reaction to these words may be different than mine. That's okay. You might have chosen other words with different connotations as well. That's okay too, as long as you can explain your feelings or the word's connotation. I'll give you a few minutes to circle those words and jot down your feelings. After we have completed that, towards the end of the excerpt, there is a question. What is the tone of this passage? How does the author's diction contribute to this tone? In your binder, there is a blue sheet of paper with several tone words on it. It's in the toolbox section. This is a guide to help you. There may also be some on the back board in the blue magnetic pocket. I have concluded that the tone is despondent, morose, pessimistic, dispirited, or even destroyed. I put several because I'm not sure which I'd like to use and I want to have options. The author uses a myriad amount of negative words that leads to this type of tone, i.e., the words we circled above. Now for the hot question on the bottom. Using the text evidence we already found and circled, and the background information we have from reading the novel, we will devise an answer. You may notice that this is a similar method to the boxes we used last time, but for a shorter selection. Not a story or a novel, just an excerpt. So think about why Wiesel, the author, chose these particular words, the ones we circled. Consider the effect of that diction. Remember that the word choice a writer makes determines the reader's reaction to the content and contributes to the author's style and tone. Now summarize your thoughts on the effect of the words Wiesel chose in Night and the effect an aphra has on the reader. Here's what I came up with. Wiesel chose specifically words with negative connotations such as silent, cursed, consumed, deprived, condemned, and murdered to convey his despondent attitude. His chosen diction and his use of anaphora, never shall I forget, asserts how dispirited he is because of his experiences in the concentration camps. Because he uses these words, the reader feels as morose as he did when he wrote it. Now, you can choose to copy mine, or you can choose to do your own. It's up to you. Just like with last time, you're going to color code it. The assertion is yellow, the text evidence green, and commentary is pink. I will give you a few minutes to jot this down on your paper. You will keep this paper in your group binder because guess what? You'll be doing this same diction activity to your own selection next class period, and you will want this paper to refer back to for help. Okay, now the fun part. Remember, this is a quiz grade, so it's a pretty big chunk of your grade right now, and progress reports go out next week. You are going to create an anaphor poem that is similar to Wiesel's excerpt. You may start it with Never Shall I, or for those of you with imagination and creativity, you may pick another set of words to start with, kind of like Martin Luther King chose I Have a Dream, or Winston Churchill's World War II speech where he repeats, We shall. The substitute will pass out the rubric. Make sure you follow it completely to get 100%. You will turn your poem in with the rubric stapled to it by the end of the class. Do not take it home to work on. Here's an example I wrote a few years ago. Never shall I forget the first time I saw your tiny little fingers. Never shall I forget the first time I heard you cry, and my heart skipped 10 beats because I hate to hear you in pain. Never shall I forget when you began calling me Mama. Never shall I forget when you hit your first triple, scored your first goal, and put up your first three-pointer. Never shall I forget how my eyes filled with tears when I saw you in your first tuxedo. Never shall I forget how proud I was when you earned valedictorian of your 8th grade class. Never shall I forget when an extraordinary son was born on September 2nd, 1999. Now you see, mine's not super creative because I did use the never shall I. But again, if you've got something else, go ahead and use it. Make it more interesting. Also, you want your poem to use a lot of imagery, so feel free to use similes, metaphors, describe things using your senses, things that you heard, things that you felt, things that you saw, things that you smelled. That will make your poem much more interesting to the reader. You're going to write your final draft of your poem on the fancy paper I left on the round table. Please don't waste it. I need enough for all my classes, 180 students. Again, it is due today. Make sure you turn the poem and the rubric in before leaving. Have fun, and if you need to see parts of this video again, I'm sure you can figure out how to rewind.